Each witness, start with you, Ms. Berry. Do you believe it's very difficult now for Jewish students to attend colleges in America?
I think it can be for individual Jewish
No, I
students.
said, is it?
It can't. It depends on the individual students
Well,
and what they're
okay.
encountering. Yes.
Rabbi, do you think it is?
Yes, almost impossible.
Ms. Stern?
Senator, it depends on the campus. For many, absolutely so. But I would also add one other thing, that if there are some Jewish students who are anti-Zionists, whose Judaism leads them to that position, and they are also getting
Ms. Stern,
spat
I'm
on.
trying to establish a baseline. The reason we wrote the letter is because we see playing out before our eyes just an assault on Jewish students in colleges. I'm looking at systems here. Does anybody, let me ask you, the DNI said Iran, we have observed actors tied to Iran's government posing as activists online, seeking to encourage protest and even providing financial support to protesters. Does anybody doubt that? Okay. Mr. Stern, is it Hamas's goal to destroy the Jewish state?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm your independent political analyst, no spin, no tribalism, just facts, context, and thoughtful commentary. Today, we're looking at a Senate hearing that focused on anti-Semitism on American college campuses. The exchange featured witnesses, including Ms. Berry, a rabbi, and Mr. Stern, and it turned into a pretty heated conversation about anti-Semitism, free speech, and the role of foreign influence in U.S. debates about Israel. Let's break it down.
Absolutely. Hamas
Is it Hezbollah's goal to destroy the Jewish state?
Absolutely.
Is it Iran's goal to destroy the Jewish state?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Berry, do you agree with that?
I think these are complicated questions. I
No,
really
it's
don't want
not.
to talk
There's
about
nothing
foreign
complicated
policy.
about it. That's the
Yeah,
most ridiculous
Senator,
testimony ever given in this committee.
Yeah. So
if you think it's
all of those-
complicated to figure out that Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran wants to kill all the Jews,
Yeah.
I should not listen to anything else you got to say.
Okay. May I,
and
Senator,
I won't.
if I may,
Rabbi,
Senator?
Rabbi,
I think we started
do
a
you
look-
believe that Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran are out to kill all the Jews and destroy Israel?
I believe they're out to destroy the Jewish state and kill all the Jews.
Okay, so I do too. And I believe Iran's behind this. And what I would like this committee to do is deal with the systematic problems that exist regarding what's going on American colleges today. What's going on in colleges today, there's an organized effort to intimidate, harass, and physically assault Jewish students. What's going on today is an effort on multiple fronts to wipe Israel off the map. This is not an academic discussion. As to what should happen, Mr. Stern, if a student on a college campus uses the N-word against African American or students, should they be expelled?
I think if a student goes and harasses another student, says that to their face, that could be absolutely a matter for discipline. However, I think if they're just standing up there with a sign or saying, this is what I think, or a word I'm choosing, and not threatening somebody and not harassing, then that should be deplored, but it should not be the subject of discipline.
But do you agree with me if African-American students are being called the N-word and harassed and belittled by other students, those students should pay a price for that?
I think if there's any type of harassment, doesn't matter the word.
Yeah.
But if the students are being
Well, the word
harassed,
does matter if you're African-American.
Well, what I'm saying is that no harassment should be
Well,
tolerated.
right,
that way.
there you go, that's good. So the idea that you could hold somebody accountable for using words makes sense to me, because free speech is a concept that we all hold near and dear, but words start wars. Words can incite violence. You can't yell fire in a theater. So what I would say that's going on here is that we have to deal with the problem at its roots, first identifying it. America has many problems. There are people hateful to each other. That's been with us since there's been a country. We live in a unique moment in America, I think. And I'm trying to get us to focus on that moment about not only a rise of anti-Semitism, but an effort by agents of Iran and other powers to divide us here at home. What's so sad is that October the 7th was designed to destroy the reconciliation between Saudi Arabia and Israel. All the intel shows us that Iran struck Israel in such a vicious way to stop the reconciliation between Saudi Arabia and Israel. I believe that with all my heart. I don't want them to win. I want to normalize between Saudi Arabia and Israel. I want a better life for the Palestinian community. And it can never happen without Hamas being destroyed and never coming back. It can never happen without Hezbollah and Iran being contained. It can never happen without security for the state of Israel. So what I would say, without any hesitation, that what's going on in America on our campuses is worthy of a discussion all of its own. We need to get to the bottom of it and start holding people accountable who run these schools. Thank you.
Senator Whitehouse.
Thanks very much, Chairman. Let me start by agreeing with.
The central question raised by senators was whether Jewish students are finding it increasingly difficult to attend American universities. Witnesses had slightly different takes. Some said it depends on the campus and the individual, while others described the situation as almost impossible for many Jewish students. What united their perspectives, though, was agreement that anti-Semitism on campuses is a real and growing problem. From there, the hearing moved into a broader discussion of geopolitics. Senators asked the witnesses to weigh in on whether groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the government of Iran want to destroy Israel and kill Jews. Both the rabbi and Mr. Stern answered yes. Ms. Berry, on the other hand, described the issue as complicated. That answer drew sharp criticism from the senator leading the questioning, who dismissed her response as inadequate. This moment illustrates something important, how polarized these debates can become, even in a congressional setting. On one side, there's an insistence on clear, unequivocal answers about threats to Israel's existence. On the other, there's an attempt to add nuance, which should be perceived fairly or unfairly as evasive. The committee also spent time on the question of free speech versus harassment. Mr. Stern made a distinction here. He argued that while hateful words should be condemned, they shouldn't necessarily be punished unless they cross the line into harassment or threats. That prompted pushback, with senators pointing out that if African-American students were being directly targeted with racial slurs, there would be an expectation that schools take disciplinary action. The debate here reflects a bigger tension in American society. How do we balance the principle of free speech with the responsibility to ensure that students aren't subjected to harassment? Another layer to the discussion was the role of foreign influence. Intelligence reports were cited showing that Iran has attempted to pose as activists online, funding and encouraging protests in the U.S. The senator argued that October 7th, the date of the Hamas attack on Israel, was orchestrated in part to derail potential reconciliation between Saudi Arabia and Israel. From that perspective, anti-Semitism on U.S. campuses isn't just a domestic issue. It's also part of a larger geopolitical struggle. Now, here's where my own analysis comes in. It's undeniable that anti-Semitism is on the rise, and Jewish students are experiencing real hostility in some places. At the same time, universities have to walk a fine line. There are supposed to be spaces for free debate, but also safe environments where harassment is not tolerated. That balance is extremely difficult to strike, especially when the political climate is so charged. I also think it's worth noting that while senators are right to highlight Iran's destabilizing role, not every protest or act of criticism toward Israel is foreign-directed. Some of it is homegrown frustration about U.S. foreign policy or human rights. Lumping it all together as Iran-backed risks oversimplifying the problem and alienating students who are engaging in legitimate political expression. Finally, the senator's closing remarks about peace are telling. He argued that true peace in the Middle East requires the destruction of Hamas, containment of Hezbollah and Iran, and security for Israel, alongside better conditions for Palestinians. That's a vision many would agree with in principle, but the path to achieving it is far from clear. So, what should we take away from this hearing? First, anti-Semitism on campuses is real and serious, and universities need to be more proactive about protecting Jewish students. Second, free speech debates remain deeply contested, especially when it comes to hate speech and harassment. And third, the U.S. conversation about anti-Semitism is inseparable from larger geopolitical battles, particularly the influence of Iran and the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. As always, my goal isn't to tell you what to think, but to give you context so you can form your own opinion. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think universities are doing enough to protect Jewish students? Or are they failing in their responsibilities? I'd love to hear your perspectives.